back to my channel. Today is part 7 of grocery gathering. And today I'm going to be talking about loving those leftovers and also rationing. Now, some people just cannot stand leftovers. They don't want to eat anything that's been reheated and they've had it before, even if it's last week. But in the challenging time that we live in and could live in the future, first you may have to learn how to love those leftovers, because you don't want to waste any food, and it may be the only food that you have. You could be very frugal and only make exactly what every person would eat, and that would come down to rationing. So let's say you have a family of 4. Everyone gets 1 cup of stew, and that's it, 1 measuring cup of stew. And if you want more, then you're going to have to wait until the next meal, because you only prepared 1 cup of stew for each person. So that's 4 cups. Now, you can add cornbread, homemade rolls, homemade bread, side items, again, rationing out exactly how much they might eat. But what if 1 cup of stew is not enough for, let's say, a person that's been outside working all day and they've worked up a big appetite, and you've only prepared 1 cup of stew for that person? Again, that's where the side items might come in: the bread, the biscuits, cornbread, whatever it might be. You might always have a pot of beans on the stove. I heard in the Great Depression and other times, they always had a pot of beans cooking on the stove. So anytime someone wanted to come in and they were hungry, they could get beans and cornbread, or beans and biscuits that might be left over from breakfast. Now, let's say you're in the city and you have a lot of leftovers and you don't like leftovers. So what you can do is you can put these leftovers, let's say it's a complete meal, so you can make 2 meals out of the leftovers that you have. Get some containers, put these leftovers in the containers and put them in the freezer. Mark them on the top, and another channel used a white crayon. Mark it on the top, and that way you can have that meal later. So it's really not a leftover. It's like a freezer meal. You can put it in a Ziploc bag. Eat it later, microwave it, or just warm it up on the stove. You can even make a large pot of stew or soup from all the leftovers that you have in your refrigerator. And you may need to go into the freezer. So make a very large pot of stew, chili, soup, whatever you would like, and eat as much as you want. That way you wouldn't have to ration. Eat as much as you want in your family. Put the rest in freezer bags or a container. Mark it, date it, and that way, let's say you're not there for the day and your family needs to eat dinner. They can throw that in a crock pot or in a pot on the stove, warm it up, and they're actually eating leftovers, but it's like a brand new meal because they didn't eat the same thing the next day. So that's one option. Now, some people love leftovers because they don't have to cook. They cook once, and let's say they have enough for 2 meals. So it might be lunch one day and dinner the next day. You can change it up a little bit. Let's say you did a whole lot of, let's say beef, and you put Mexican seasoning on there, and you added some other things. Okay, well, you can make tacos, burritos. You can turn around and add beans and make chili out of it. You can do a lot with a basic meat or a basic pot of soup or stew. Again, a long time ago in the Great Depression, what they used to do is everyone in the neighborhood area would get together and bring what they had. If it was soup, stew, pies, fruit, whatever they had. And they would have what we call today like a potluck. Everyone had enough food. They might have taken a meal home. I've never read that, but they might have taken a meal home with them. But it was getting together with your neighbors, putting everything on the table that you had to bring to the gathering, and they shared. And they were able to eat different things. Well, this is the 7th part of Grocery Gathering. It's about rationing and loving those leftovers. Think about what items you can cook in mass quantity, like a batch, and you won't have to have leftovers, or you might want leftovers. If you enjoyed this video and found some of the information interesting or helpful, give me a thumbs up, and in the comments below, let me know if your family loves leftovers or they hate leftovers. And if they hate leftovers, how do you use that same food and turn it around and make it into something different? I appreciate everyone stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video.